Okay, this has just come out in the last hour. Is that Wembley Stadium will now host 7 games at Euro 2020. Now this is UEFA's, Michel Platini's grand plan of France will be the last Euros where a country gets to host, but now it's turned to a one-off due to changes at head of UEFA with Platini now going. So Wembley now gets 7 games, including the final, semi-final, quarter-final, and some group games, as Brussels missed out on extra games because its stadium's not up to standard. Now, in the post-Brexit world, this is interesting. But yeah, Wembley now gets some of the big matches, including the final. And it is news, because with the whole Brexit talks and bits and pieces going on, that dragging on and being very negative from both sides, and there's controversy there. The way that this tournament has been set up for 2020 is it's going to be a pan-European, many cities can bid. Certain cities have missed out. Now here's the list of cities. Here we So we have Amsterdam in the Netherlands, Baku in Azerbaijan, Bilbao in Spain, Bucharest in Romania, Budapest in Hungary, Copenhagen in Denmark, Dublin in Ireland, Glasgow in Scotland, obviously London with Wembley, Munich, Rome and St Petersburg. So it's a very cross-continental tournament, and of course Wembley is the biggest stadium, sitting 90,000. Now, there have been criticisms of ticket prices of international football matches, and I always notice, especially when England play or the Challenge Cup Rugby League final at Wembley, there's a lot of empty seats in that middle tier. Club Wembley tickets. So the tickets have been paid for, just no one turns up, which looks really bad for TV. Wembley itself is a brilliant stadium. And some of the other stadiums listed, you've got the Johan Cruyff Arena in Amsterdam, the Olympic Stadium in Baku, the Shah Menesh in Bilbao. It's a brilliant new stadium. The old one was a cathedral, this one is the new cathedral. You've got the National Stadium in Romania, you've got the Puskás Stadium in Budapest, Aviva Stadium in Dublin. That's another brilliant stadium. I don't quite get the glass window at one end, but it's still a brilliant stadium. And you look at like the list of stadiums there, and they could all host a Champions League final. They could all be perfectly fine for a Euro World Cup final. They're brilliant stadiums. They really are. But the fact that England now have 7 games at Wembley is because the Belgian capital Brussels just loses the right to, because the stadium's not up to standard, and they're going to kick off and whinge about it. But if your stadium's not up to international standard and it hasn't been refurbed properly and things like that, there's no guarantees on it being ready in 2 years' time, then, because stadium rebuilds take time, they're not going to get it. Anderlecht Stadium's not good enough, the National Stadium's not good enough in Belgium, so there you go. But no, this is a very interesting story with the backdrop of the UK leaving the EU. Very interesting, and it's going to be a very interesting tournament, the fact it's a pan-European one. And this was Michel Platini's brainchild. It's a one-off. After this tournament, it will go back to a nation hosting a whole tournament again. And there's no host nation advantage in this one, so to speak. It is a pan-European tournament, and the idea's fallen flat since then. It obviously got put in place. These stadiums already were in place. Some have been refurbed for other tournaments, and some have been recently refurbed for the national sides that they have. But obviously, Lansdowne Road in Dublin being rebuilt to the new stadium. Wembley being redeveloped. Some of these stadiums were decaying 15 years ago. This plan could not take place 15, 20 years ago because some of the stadiums were such poor condition. Even 10 years ago, some of them were in such bad condition they had to be refurbed. It's going to be an interesting tournament because there's no host nation now. In 2 years' time, there's none. And the fact that St Petersburg has games at their stadium is interesting considering the current sanctions against Russia. It's going to be interesting watching the qualification for this Euros because there's obviously no host nation, and the format, and because some of the sides, England might not even qualify. Yeah, they've got 7 matches. I'm not saying we won't or will, but England may not qualify. Ireland may not qualify. Russia may not qualify. Some of the teams, national sides, where their national stadiums are now being put forward, they may not qualify for this tournament. So it's very interesting. You might have games at, and let's go look at. We'll have to look at crowds. Because let's say Italy don't qualify, they miss 2 tournaments in a row, but there's football at the Stadio Olimpico, and it's not an Italian side. Will fans turn up? That's another thing. That's another thing they fail to realise is, well, the host nation's not here, or so and so's not playing here. What's the point? Like, it is an interesting one. I think UEFA failed to realise that. Let's say every stadium in every country here, across the board, none of those teams qualify. Will the fans turn up? That's a crucial thing. Will the fans turn up for a 4 to 6 week tournament if their side is not in it, in their country? Will they show up? UEFA failed to plan for this. We don't know how what's going to happen yet, but that's interesting. Will the crowds be there for all these games? But it's an interesting little story with the current political climate that Wembley's got all these games, and obviously this was put in motion. This plan was put in motion before Brexit came about and before the EU referendum and things that are going on within the EU. This plan was mooted and came about long ago, and yeah, I don't know what happens with this tournament, and will the crowd figures back up as a good experiment? That's interesting. I don't think they will. I think there will be a lot of empty seats. I think a lot of fans will not necessarily go. I don't think it's the European tournament UEFA envisaged it will be. It is a one-off at the moment. It is basically an experiment, and I think it will be a watershed moment to see what happens. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, place your comments below, and I'll have some more videos for you soon.